except I seen part of the 12, everything except part of the 12th round. And I really wasn't impressed with Eubank Jr. I think he's more attitude. I know he's always been kind of full of himself. I used to think it was just confidence, but now it's just kind of blown up hot air. You know what I mean? It's not really, he doesn't really have substance. Because if you notice, a lot of dude, he looked like shit. He looked like a fighter that was half punch drunk. I don't know what it was. I know he got whacked behind the head a couple times, but he just looked sloppy. He looked like Billy Joe in his fight before his fight with Lemieux. He didn't look good in there. His punches where he swung and missed wild punches. When you swing punches like that, you get tired. Groves could have easily beat him with a jab. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Groves was definitely the bigger guy in there. And he caught Chris Eubank Jr. with sharp punches from the outside. And, I knew what the equation was, or the game plan from Eubank, to get in the inside and work the body and rip those uppercuts like he likes to do. But it backfired on him. Anybody that knows Chris Eubank Jr., he overcommits to uppercuts. And really all of his punches he overcommits. He overcommitted tonight, but especially uppercuts. So when he did throw those uppercuts, he left himself wide open for a counter right or left hook because the way he was throwing them, you know what I mean? He reminded me of Knockout Kings, was it 3? I believe it was Knockout Kings 3, round 3. PlayStation 2, where you could have different types of fighters, and you had like a boxer, someone with a Roy Jones Jr. style. You had like a brawler, then you had like another type, like an awkward like fighter. He reminds me of the awkward like fighter that throws, punches the way he throwing them. And then he got hurt in the third round. He almost went down. He got caught with that right. Luckily, he caught himself because he was hurt on that. He didn't see that punch coming. Then he had that massive cut. The massive cut really distracted him, And George Groves, he's a good fighter. I mean, it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. Groves was trying to stay on the outside. Chris Eubank was trying to fight to stay in, unsuccessfully, trying to fight in the inside or get to the inside to do damage. And he threw some pretty good punches, but another thing, the punch power wasn't there, and you look at how a person's career comes out. He has 2 losses, one to Groves, first to Saunders, now to Groves. And this is the same dude that had an opportunity to fight Golovkin for damn near all the belts. You know what I mean? And somehow magically that fight just fell through. Then all of a sudden he goes up to 168. A lot of people's run from certain things, certain fights you should take, and he looked at Groves, oh, this is going to be an easier fight than a Golovkin fight. I think it was some hesitance in the corner or in the team, Eubanks, how that fight, it was just weird how that fight just didn't happen. And I think he left 160 because he knew he had to fight Jacobs. He knew he had to fight Golovkin. And he knew he had to fight somebody that was going to expose him. And Groves really didn't expose him. It was a sloppy fight. Groves was hitting behind the head. He really didn't use his jab like he's supposed to. He could have beat Chris Eubank with a jab. Chris Eubank, he showed a lot of, he looked fatigued though. I don't know what was up with him, and he didn't really look all like cut up and solid like he normally does when he does all those damn videos where he's, got 2 or 3 million views and, he's swinging and doing a lot of combinations and stuff. It looks good. But you notice in this fight, Chris Eubanks Jr. fights normally in spots anyway. He wasn't able to do that. You didn't see that. You didn't see him throw 9 or 10 punches at one time. Groves was experienced enough to, to clinch him up, to grab that left hand so he couldn't get off those combinations when he got in the inside. And, Eubanks didn't really throw a jab. He did at the beginning and it was somewhat successful, but he abandoned it for some reason and just started lunging with hooks and throwing haymaker rights, and he was missing these punches. If he was going to do anything, he should have went to the body. But again, I think it showed inexperience on the Eubanks side of things, because Groves just fought a good fight. It really wasn't. I mean, it had its moments, but I think the cut bothered Eubank, and I don't think he was conditioned enough, or in good enough shape to really make a good fight out of that fight. Because, I mean, again, he didn't look well at all. He looked like he was punch drunk. He didn't look like he was all there. Maybe it was the cut. It could have been a lot of variables about this fight that was against Chris Eubank Jr. But I know one thing. I look at the fight now. I look at how his performance is tonight. And then I look at him. I picture Golovkin being in there, or Canelo, or Jacobs, or, a rematch with Saunders, or David Lemieux even. That would be a good fight, But Chris Eubank Jr. needs to come over to the States, But it's really, I don't think now, his credibility drops because he's had another loss. That's his second loss. So I don't really know how serious or where his career is going to go since this loss, because he hasn't even popped his cherry coming over here and fighting yet. So, we'll see. You guys tell me about the fight. Tell me what you guys think about the fight. Until then, you guys been counterpunched. Peace.